Hello and welcome to the Subvert Podcast, your entry into the land of no easy answers, as we journey through the vagaries of the mind, attempting to unravel the mysteries of why our brains brain.
Well, hello.
Hey.
Hey there. Didn't see ya.
Where did you come from?
What?
You've been there the whole...
Whole
Wait,
time?
you've been listening to this the whole time?
You didn't see. Oh, God.
Okay.
Well, this is the Subvert Podcast, where we actually don't make any apologies for our butts.
Some would say we should, but... but yeah, we are absolutely we are absolutely unapologetically pro-butt.
Yes. The Pro Butt Podcast, as our name shall henceforth be known.
Absolutely. Yes,
You're just tuning in for the first time. Welcome.
I just have a feeling you're going to be making
nonsense.
a whole bunch of butts for puppets on this episode. It's going to be... So, yeah.
Believe it or not, this episode actually isn't about butts. Or is it? It always kind of goes back to assholes one way or another, doesn't it?
It is a circular, right? Like you feed it, it comes out. It's just a circle, you know. You don't necessarily... It generally goes through a couple processes, hopefully, before you put it back in. But
very good. Well, this as always is the profound Aaron Stewart.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm Kristen Remore. This is the Subvert Podcast, your land of no easy answers. And this actually did kind of segue in because we are kind of going to be talking about assholes in one way or another.
Yeah, you know, and it's the amount of just spam and advertising and just garbage that I receive on a daily basis that just, you know, I don't know if it's bothering you guys, but it just really, right, like it's just gotten to a point now, you know, I mean, and they have to pass laws and that still doesn't do anything, and it's just, yeah.
It's an alarming amount of spam that I receive on a daily basis. It's not just, it used to just be your emails, you know, you go through, most of it goes in your junk folder anyways.
Or the flyers. The flyers, I still
You get flyers?
I still, like we can't,
Is
we
this
can't
1998
even, I can't even put a do
still?
not put flyers in my mailbox thing because they just ignore it. Like, and I've got this, I'm in an apartment, so I've got this little tiny mailbox and it's constantly stuffed full of flyers and then one letter, right? Then just stupid. I like, and it's just constantly tossing away like a newspaper's worth of garbage every day, basically, that they deliver to my...
That's quite shocking. Wow.
I mean, it's probably on a weekly basis I'm throwing out a whole newspaper's worth of flyers.
Yeah.
But
well, I didn't realize people still advertised using flyers. I guess
I
I don't get any of this.
And I don't even look at them. And this is where you know, it's the idea of advertising being this just like throw it out there kind of thing, and the people will love it.
Well, sure. Yeah.
You know, and instead of, you know, we're in a different age now where you could just actually, you know, talk to the people you want to talk to instead of...
Yeah. I mean, arguably, though, I think I would prefer a mailbox full of flyers than a bunch of spam, either emails or text messages, or the very misleading ones that actually do seem legitimate. And you have to really work through and do a lot of digging to then find out that it is someone just trying to spam you.
Well, and now my bank sends me miscellaneous messages every once in a while. At least I think it's my bank, right? Yeah. Like the one time that it was actually something that I was doing, it popped up and said, "Are you sure you want to?" And I went, "Yes," right? Yeah. So, I mean, that was the bank, but any of these other ones that I'm getting that for just random reason, or you're sending me a text message, I'm not replying. I'm not, like, there's just no way I'm clicking on any of it. Yeah. Which just begs the question of why are we still sending that out, you know? Yeah. And so, yeah, we want to throw this out to you. Like, are you guys, like, does advertising still work in this day and age? I mean,
it does in a very different way, though, right? Like, there's the, like, product placement advertising that works very well on social media and things like this. Like, I'd be the first to admit I've bought a lot of crap based on targeted advertising. I'm not proud of it, guys, but it's
well,
so
I mean,
good.
I understand that, you know, you've got a product, you have to get it out in front of people somehow. I get that, right? It's just, you know, you look at the traditional methods of, you know, blanketing a neighborhood with flyers, and I just wonder whether that's getting you any kind of return anymore. You know?
It must be, otherwise they wouldn't still be doing it. You'd think.
I mean, I'm sure there are still some people, clipping coupons to go into but yeah. I mean, the sale prices are pretty usually listed right there. I mean,
yeah. I mean, all it takes is just, you just need to hit the right person at the right time. Right? So they are going through their mail and this jumps out and it's something they never thought of, but then it's like, oh.
That's the whole point of advertising in the first place, I guess.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. So, I mean, you throw out, 1,000 flyers to get maybe one customer out of it, but I guess it still works out somehow.
And they just work that into the budget and...
Yeah. I mean, you have to advertise, that's for sure. I mean, I'm not getting down on actually legitimate businesses that need to advertise to make money to be successful. I think that's totally fine. What I have the issues with are the ones that are doing it for nefarious reasons, that are just trying to get a hold of your information and to steal from you and get a hold of your accounts or your identity. And that's the ones that I really take issue with. Or that are stealing, like plagiarizing from others. And these are the ones you see a lot of for like the Facebook targeted advertising. Right? And it's a product and you click on it and you're like, yeah, this looks great. And that's when, your brain starts going, we're like, this seems really cheap for what it is.
Yeah.
And then so do the legwork extra and you find out, because it's someone else's piece entirely. Like, let's say it's a piece of art or something like that. It's someone else that actually charges a lot of money because it's something that is of a lot of value that's now been ripped off. You give your money to this company and get nothing in return. Right? Or, I don't know, a pair of socks comes in the mail or something shitty that you didn't actually sign up for.
You get a pair of socks that don't even cover your feet or something.
They're practical socks. Joke. You know about my little socks all day.
They're just so cute.
They're ridiculous socks. And you know what? I like them.
As I'm wearing my oversized sock and shorts, it's kind of...
It's not about whose socks are bigger, Aaron. Okay? It always comes back to sock size on this show.
I just have the bigger socks. I mean, I don't want to brag about it or anything, but, it's a bigger feet kind of situation. I mean...
This is what our viewers are very interested in.
We're getting,
Whose socks are bigger?
We got into this because the advertising for the socks has just reached now that we're doing a sock puppet based show, I mean, I've just been receiving, it's just targeted.
Speaking of advertisers, on behalf of our sponsors, socks.
Yeah. Your used socks. That's, yeah.
Oh,
God. You're washed, but, okay. Anyway.
God, off topic. What are we actually even talking about anymore?
It's still on spam, right? I mean, and this is the kind of thing where it just,
So I want to talk about how we can actually, like, if everyone's getting constantly spammed and bombarded all of the time, right? Like, what can we do? Because as consumers, obviously, we do need access to information. We will be subject to advertising. But what can we as consumers do to kind of sift through the plethora of advertising between what's bullshit, what is plagiarism, what is someone just fully trying to scam you and steal your information, and what is real?
Absolutely.
And how much effort do we really want to be giving into this endeavor at the end of the day? Because I'd argue a lot of our brain power right now is probably taken up by this on a subconscious level.
Yep. Every time you get that ping, every time you get that little rain.
Well, and also the anxiety. I went through it the other day, getting message from like the Canada Revenue Agency, and it's just like, and it looks legitimate where it's like, okay, like there's an issue with this account, like reply help if, you require help with it. You're like, oh, okay. And then follow the link. And, the link that they've sent you is the actual website for the Canada Revenue Agency. And I can see how a lot of people would go for it, right? And it took me a while of like, hey, this looks legit, but I'm not clicking on a link that's getting sent via text message. So I'm going to go the long-winded route of, get into my account and figure stuff out. Or you try to call them, but the wait time is 6 hours to, talk and find out if your account has actually been compromised, because that's what they've told you. And,
and that's how they get you.
And, you have to have so much sympathy for people that are like, panic, okay, something's been compromised, click the link, give the information. It all looks very legitimate,
Because they literally just copy the page,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Like
for
they
sure.
can just take a screenshot of it and just copy that out.
But
make
it's
it
in the
look like
address
it's-
too, right?
Yeah.
And there's maybe one, a decimal point or something that sets it apart from the real thing, enough that, a normal person, unless you're being extremely vigilant, wouldn't notice. So you have to have so much sympathy for it. And it's easy for us to be like, oh, these people that get scammed, how do they not see that because it's very, very good.
And better all the time,
it's-
and it's and you
it's-
watch a lot of the blockchain spaces, and it's so many just scams and rug pulls and just miscellaneous, right, fly by night enterprises that just disappear.
Yeah.
and
For sure.
It becomes a real issue of who do you trust, how are we supposed to
Yeah.
how are we supposed to navigate this if it's just this flood of just garbage being thrown at you all day?
Well, and that's what it comes down to, is who do you trust? And it's really contributing to the disconnect that we see in our society and our culture now, is because you can trust fewer and fewer. We've gotten to the point you can't trust your own bank. You can't trust your own, government agency websites that have your personal information. So who can you trust? It's at the point where I trust nothing that comes into my phone anymore. Even if it's saying it's my bank or this, and sometimes maybe it is. I don't actually know.
And that's the worst part, is that the ones that are actually trying to get a hold of you for something legitimate, and I'm just screening them all out now, and I assume that most of us are doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Just because of this exact, you click on the one thing that you're just like, oh, this can't be, this has to be real, right? And it is, but then the ones that, right? And so it's just, right, am I supposed to click on it? And so what are your guys' thoughts on this? Do you guys have an actual method for getting off of these lists, or for making it less of a problem, or is there any way of actually stopping this from, spiraling out of control? Or is this just going to be something that, it's an arms race at this point, where, they block this one, they load up two more, right? They make a lot to block this, they try something else, right? It's just a constant, cat and mouse game, trying to catch and try to, right, just
Well, I think as long as we're participating in the system, which we all are, we kind of recognize that this is the currency now, right? Your data and your personal information is the currency du jour, right? So as long as we keep participating in that, arguably, this is what we kind of have to come to expect. So this is my kind of first thought of how do you solve this problem, is kind of got to stop participating. Unless it's tuning in to watch the Subvert podcast, of course, then by all means, please participate. But if you don't kind of give that access to all of that information, if there's no data to capture, then, and it's sad, because it shouldn't have to be an all or nothing
not
response.
the world that we live in anymore, unfortunately, right? It's harder and harder to
you can't disconnect.
disassociate yourself from that kind of stuff, right? Try going without an email address for a while.
Well, yeah.
Right? And there are still people that do the flip phone thing, but they're still sending texts, right? They're still making phone calls. They still, in order to stay connected in this society that we've built, it's unless you're going to go completely off grid, and who really wants to do that, right? For any length of time, at least, right? It becomes, and so that's where we have to have, I guess, these communication, or these conversations about communication. There we go. Right? And as in, which ones do we trust? Are there ones that we can look out for that, and try to help each other out in these ways of just, this has popped up. What do you guys think? And I think this is where we have to learn to trust each other, and that's part of what we try to get at with this whole thing that we've built here, is this idea of the erosion of trust doesn't necessarily mean that I have to stop trusting everything. It's more just a matter of, I think, just trying to, navigate and try to pick the things, and I guess don't get too invested. I don't know. That's not even helping, is it?
No.
Right?
Well, as always, this is the land of no easy answers.
Yeah.
I don't have the slightest clue, really, how to begin. Because, if you have to live within this system, and you have to live within this world, which we all kind of currently do, then, how can you build trust when there's so much that you can't trust? Right? And again, this is where we want you to kind of jump in here and
Please give us the answers.
Please, we don't know. I don't know
Somebody
why
out there
we did
knows the
this
answer
topic
to this and can
because
just be like, oh yeah, dude, no, you just got to do this. And if you could just let us know, that'd be great.
I mean, I think you're right. It just starts with having more people talking to each other, right? And again, if you can't trust a lot of all of these faceless things, then trust the people that are in front of you. And if we can start on that level, just building community, trust your neighbor, that starts with having to talk to him or her, which I know sounds scary to a lot of people because...
Yeah, but it's on those, little bridges
Yeah.
that we can build something, hopefully, where, regardless of your political ideation, regardless of religious, whatever beliefs you have, you're still a person. I still care for you. I still want the best for you. Regardless of whatever else, I hope that we have this mutual agreement where we're just trying to help each other become better versions of each other.
Perfectly timed, cat.
Right?
Perfectly timed.
Just like, how do we become better for our cats? Our Lord and Masters. Oh, hello.
Perfectly timed.
Well, look at that.
He's not trained.
Our new friend here.
Well, let's leave it on that.
Mascot to the podcast.
Let's be better for the cats. I mean, they will be our overlords one day anyways.
They already
They
are.
pretty much
They
yeah.
know it. It's kind of, there's no denying. But
So, please chime into this conversation. Let us know what you think and, share your stories and your frustrations and the triumphs you've had and the conversations you've had with others that help you navigate this world we live in of bombardment and people trying to use your info and your data as currency, Let's talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So,
There's got to be an answer to this. Right? There's an easy answer. There really is. I know there is. And I know we call this the land of no easy answers, but there is we can just go, oh, that one, right. So just let us know. And
point it out, please.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
Don't forget to hit subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. And that's all. Yeah. Thanks for joining us again, everyone, and we will see you next time.
Have a great day.